Today we celebrate the living legacy of a woman who has helped to shape our history, transforming the universe, the autobiographical journey of Lillian Coggins Watson. Lillian Coggins was born September 21st, 1944, in Windsor, North Carolina, growing up on a family farm in Kings before eventually moving to Indian Woods in Bertie County. Her family and the love that they shared made her childhood beautiful. Her father, the late Irving Coggins Sr., was a true vision of hard work, dedication, patience, and warmth.
The farm, like I say, my dad had just a little that he farmed, but it was, he had large acres of peanuts, cotton, and corn. We had goats. I remember trying to ride the goats that I was afraid of. We had chickens, we had pigs, cows. He started to raise pigs, and he made lots of money, just raising the pigs. Oh, in cold weather, we would actually bring the pigs inside and feed them bottles. My dad would fix milk, and we would give the pigs milk. But even the chickens, I was afraid of the rooster, because the rooster would chase you.
Yeah.
I was a nervous little girl to be a farmer. You could hear the birds in the morning, and oh yeah, the smell of the farm. When I go home now, you get rejuvenated. When you go there and you smell the fresh, with the peanuts, everything had a smell. The corn, even cotton, you could tell the difference. We picked cotton, and some people would pick almost 300 pounds of cotton in a day. And they get weighed out, and I never forget that, because I could never pick enough cotton to weigh. You had to have at least 25 pounds. And so there was a man, Willie, would come by there. Everybody felt sorry for me, I think, because I just could not work the farm. And he would give me cotton. I would take the bag. When he give me cotton enough, I'd take the cotton and go over in the corner in a row. They had rows. The cotton would be on here, and a little ditch in between, and then there's another row, so you could find enough room for a bed. So I could put my cotton that he picked for me and go to sleep. And then my mommy said to me, she said, "You can't do that. The snakes would come out. Someone bite you." And sure enough, I didn't go for the cotton. So I was naive. I went to the corn patch, because the corn patch was right beside the cotton patch. And I went over there, and after he gave me the cotton and picked enough cotton for me, I dragged my bag over there and take my break, and I'd go to sleep. And I must have heard the noise. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was more my imagination than it was that big snake. But a snake was going down the other road in that corn patch. A huge snake. I can see it there. And when I saw that snake, I never would sleep again in the cotton patch, a corn patch.
As a child, Lillian attended the W.F. Etheridge School in an all-black segregated district in North Carolina, a state which holds an impressive 10 historically black colleges and universities. In the fall of 1962, Lillian enrolled in the School of Cosmetology at Elizabeth City. By June of 1963, she'd graduated with a degree and re-enrolled as a health and physical education major. In fact, it was at Elizabeth City State that, as a member of the cheer team, Lillian Coggins met, fell in love with, and eventually married her college sweetheart and football superstar Percy Watson on May 31st, 1965. In May of 1967, Lillian Coggins Watson officially walked across the stage and became an alumni of Elizabeth City State University. That same year, Lillian Coggins Watson and her husband moved to New York to start a life together. By 1971, Lillian and Percy welcomed 2 children into the world, Percy Watson Jr. and Bertram Watson. In June of 1972, Lillian and Percy purchased their first home in Roosevelt, Long Island. That same year, Lillian Coggins Watson officially began what would become a historic career as an educator in the Roosevelt School District. By 1973, Lillian became a full-time teacher in Roosevelt, and in 1979, Lillian Coggins Watson received her Master's of Arts from Adelphi University. As a teacher, Mrs. Watson made it her mission to expose students to the world. Her first class trip that she organized was a trip to Washington, D.C. from Washington Rose Elementary School. By 1990, Mrs. Watson had become the senior class advisor and math coordinator for Roosevelt High School, where she organized the first class trip by way of air across the country to Disneyland in California. By the fall of 1999, Mrs. Watson became one of the first Black women to serve as principal in the Roosevelt School District by way of Ulysses Bias, then Theodore Roosevelt Elementary School. In her first few years, Mrs. Watson made groundbreaking changes that would shape the district as a whole for generations to come. Mrs. Watson pushed for a uniform school within the district to help set the standard of being first in the universe, a practice that eventually spread district-wide. Mrs. Watson fulfilled her promise to create an eclectic environment by continuing to plan trips for students to Disney World, Albany, U.S. Mint, legacy science museums, Broadway shows, and trips all around New York. In 1999 and 2000, Mrs. Watson took on the role of athletic director for the back-to-back Long Island football champions of Roosevelt, Long Island. By 2003, Mrs. Watson was recognized by the New York State Department of Education as a high-performing school that helped to close the gap in student performance in New York State. Mrs. Watson also introduced the Ulysses Bias Chess Club, which eventually became the Chestnuts, led by Mr. Evans, to a 10-time consecutive championship run. Mrs. Watson's focus on history and empowering each student for success is something that still continues to this day. In 2012, Mrs. Watson retired from the Roosevelt School District, but continued her work in the community. In 2015, by way of the Roosevelt Chamber of Commerce, the Lillian Coggins Watson Scholarship officially introduced and has helped a number of students continue their education in pursuit of the transformation of the universe.
I guess that's what kept us going, because we thought we were the best. He always said that.
First in you.
The first, yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lillian Coggins Watson, former principal of Ulysses Bias Elementary School in Roosevelt, New York. I was a principal for 21 years after teaching, totally working in Roosevelt for over 39 years. And I enjoyed teaching math. So I had 2 sons. Now I have 13 great-grandchildren. And I learned myself how easy math is. In fact, I even wrote something about math is as easy as 1, 2, 3, once we learn the concept. So after I had my sons, of course, they always said what my teacher said. So I got a chance to work with my grandchildren. But now it is such a pleasure to work with my great-grandchildren. And now I have found out, I always believed that age did not matter, that a child or anyone can learn anything once they put their hearts to it. So I enjoy math, and I decided, well, during the pandemic, I can start to deal with working with my grandchildren. So amazing what children can do. And I have to even go back myself to review some of the skills that I've had, because I haven't taught math. I was a principal for 21 years, so I haven't taught math in, I know, say 30 years, rounding it off. But I am so proud, and it makes me feel so good to now teach my great grandchildren, ever who will listen.